and this is my puppy Mags, Anna Magdalena Bach, who's named after Bach's second wife. And she got all dressed up for you tonight because she's wearing her little bandana, as you can see, that has her husband's name on it, Bach, and his music score, which is pretty cool. And speaking of Mags' husband, I wrote a story that mentions him, and it's called BeeLouise and the Symphonies, and it's about a little bee. And my name starts with a B, and it happens to be the same nickname my mom used when I was little growing up. There were no blooms on the bluebells this blistery, blizzardly day. At 5:00 flower hour, upon their pedestals, bees will stay, when the busy bee colony isn't hard at work during spring sprout season. Yet on this day it was freezing, so there was no pollen for this reason. High up at 300 South Broad in the highfalutin High Five is the prim, too-pruned and proper place where BeeLouise does reside. Wasps were wrapped in yellow jacks, so cold through their head and down to every liver, for they all caught the bee shiver, which comes when the rose doth wither. That tidbit of honey won't last till the marvelous month of May, is what Auntie and Uncle Aunt who lived next door shan't have, but did say. Miss Louise was worried sick that the bees would shudder, shake, and soon go hungry. Their bellies seemed a bit grumbly. I will fix this, thought the bee bumbly. Without a mutter, the bee did flutter right down the gutter spout, trying to find a fanciful feast like roast beef for bees, no doubt. By Burnham Hall, read a sign, under which a long line of folks poked to get on by. Here they sell shrubs as good as pie. My gosh, what a menu, oh my! At that moment it came, a familiar-sounding low hummy buzz. Inside there was neither viburnum shrub nor flower's sticky fuzz. There stood a man upon a stage who with a wrist flick waved his stick, saying, "No! Adagio means play it slow," to a girl at a piano. As they rehearsed, no one could speak, and Bee got weak in her bee's knees. Dropping her jaw, she thought her the be-all Miss Master of the keys. With bee bumps and hair up, BeeLouise flew to read the girl named O's whole story. She went to conservatory, where flowers grow in their glory. Could it be that O knew of a great gardenia garden? BeeLouise thought she'd ask first, and then beg her pardon. O was gurring and stirring with each note as her face flushed pink as the lilies. With fierce focus on the frillies, she'd work out all her stage willies. O flipped the page, and a musty whiff of dusty went up Bee's nose. BeeLouise got wheezy, had a sneezy, and sprayed O like a hose. O was chock full of shock, down to her sock to see a bee wide-eyed and awake, for it wasn't yet spring's daybreak. Then she offered Bee a handshake. Because Bee was so well behaved, O made her the turner of page. She would work the concert from the sparkling big stage. "This will help with bee business," said she with a flirty flash of her built-in baton, not thinking about honey gone or thoughts of flowers and of lawn. O was biting her lip, trying to slur and not slip with much might. The girl and the bee wanted to fix it all and make it all right. BeeLouise too had stress and thought it best to press on to her B or C plan. So she had to go, O's new fan. I must do whatever I can. Out in the slush and mush, the bee rushed in search of big budding vines, yet she swished and swooshed from side to side by some Fraser firs and pines. Musicians left a conservatory, tooting and fluting toward Bee's abode, walking along a familiar crossroad. She had on her mind her workload. Bee jumped on a violin case. Thump! She went on her bumble rump. It was the fastest way home, though they hit a red light and a speedy bump. She was sore and needed her beauty sleep before her next chore that evening. For her, the show had great meaning. She was tired from just being. As they approached, a cockroach tried to explain, and out he did call, "No, no, here is your performance. This is Verizon Hall." So Bee learned that the places musicians study and play don't bud or blossom. Where one finds not squirrel or possum, 'twas more magical and awesome. As Bee arrived home, Queen Bee came to her door with a frightened frown. "Where have you been?" she yelled, glaring from her crown. "Fast I fled to save us, and hard I fought, but I got caught in a hazy maze, searching for daffodil and days, when I heard a beautiful phrase. No bee can find honey now, no matter her journey and its bends. No spring flowers will come to any bee before the winter ends. The bee's mind stopped churning and turning, as it did when she heard "Oh, play the keys." Away went the need to feed the bees, and her search to find peonies. After the tisk-tisks, bee shared her turning task. Her mother was proud to hear that "Oh" did ask. Since the bees in busy bee colony are sworn to always swarm together, they'd follow her forever, regardless of the cold weather. It was words like bravo and brava to them she did teach, though it was hard to pronounce for the bees in their special bee speech. If you tap-tap with the tip-top of attendance, it'd be louder than applause. Where do we do it? Are there laws? The end, all bees. Out came guffaws. She was excited for them to see the man in a suit with a stick. A concert of Bach, Beethoven, and Brahms. The three bees were his pick. Shoes by Jimmy Shoefly, dress Cricket Chanel, are what her mom to her did lend. Her stinger was ready on her rear end, not to sting, but to help her friend. The maestro walked out with his tails not between his legs, for he knew they were there to see him and practically did beg. As he introduced the bees in the program, bees flapped while others clapped quite loud. So BeeLouise stood and she bowed, though she wasn't part of that bee crowd. In the end, it was not hunger that made her shake. No, it was nerves. She grew colder than when she took flight on the snowy turns and curves. She had to turn the page at the right pace, stay out of O's face and be exact. Sitting on the music book stack, she considered what she'd lack. Beethoven's Pastoral sent her reeling as the sounds didn't die, but went to the ceiling, up high. BeeLouise relaxed her shoulders and neck, letting out a sigh. Beeswax in her ear made it hard to hear. With a joyful tear, she woke outdoors. Grass was under her, not wood floors, while the music soaked into her pores. As the Brahms concerto began to sound, the bee felt rather small under the music they played, which was big like a monster and tall. Then it became clear that no one near would dare to call themselves worst or fairer. She felt free to make an error, as she had no feeling of terror. With bees' luck, the pages got stuck and she turned 2 instead of 1. She realized, hooray, that it was all okay, and she then had fun. O's feet didn't stomp and shout, she did not. No repeating of notes to perfect. The brass didn't sound as you'd expect. Off they were, like the insect. Whether for you it's a song or Brahms, there's something with more power. Either in the bee book or sound in a nook. Above you it'll tower. That was the first time the bee had no cause for alarm and felt calm and quite long. It's true, the bee was not that strong to fix whatever might go wrong. As she listened to Brahms, it was only Brahms she thought of then and there. She heard each and every one of O's notes with such detail and care. As the finale roared a wondrous sight, she could not ignore that BeeLouise. A flower was there, brought by bees for her work in the symphony.